Wow. We are living in the future, boys and girls. That is mental. Are we live now? We are. We're live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Untidy Thursday. We shall wait until there's a few people in the room. We're going to change things up a little bit this week. We're going to, instead of me being in the mix, I'm going to present to you my new artist album because I want people to hear the music. I've been sat on it for a while. And I'm just genuinely interested to hear what people think. So let's wait until we've got a few viewers in here. 4 people watching. Good evening. Welcome. Welcome to Untidy Thursdays. I hope you're doing well this fine Thursday evening. It is the 7th of April. 2 days to go before Tidy Leeds at the Mint Warehouse. I do hope you've got your tickets. It's going to be a good old night, an untidy room with myself, Josh Butler, Xander Clubb, Jody, Dean Ashraf, and many more. So yeah, tonight I'm not actually going to go in the mix. What I'm going to do is I've literally just got the masters back for my brand new artist album, Fuzzy Logic. Now, it's not out until May, and it's a little bit unorthodox to let people hear it, but I'll be honest with you, I just want to get some feedback on it, and I want to play it to you guys for the first time ever as a super exclusive. You will be literally the first people to hear it outside of this office. And I'm going to play the tracks and talk a little bit about each track and just basically get your feedback, really. As I say, a little bit different than me just going in the mix, but genuinely I'm interested to hear what people think of the music. And yeah, I'm quite excited to play it to you. Promoting music in this day and age, there doesn't seem to be any right or wrong reason to it. You would never ever in the past play something as upfront as this, because it's not due out for another month. The first single, Bottles, is out tomorrow. But with me getting the masters back, you know, we've got a nice little thing going on every Thursday with some regular viewers, so I thought it'd be a nice little touch for you guys to hear it. And I'm genuinely excited about playing it to you. I've put a lot of love into this album. So yeah, let's check it out. But before I do start, I just want you to head over to Kickstarter and pledge on the Tidy Book. Now, the Tidy Book is a project that we, especially Amadeus, have been wanting to do for quite a while now. It's basically a look back through the entire history of the label and indeed the harder generation. It's going to be... I've seen some of the pictures that are intending to go in there, and it's not just going to be a collection of mad gurning clubbers. It really is going to be a trip down memory lane. So anybody who's ever bought one of the records, listened to the music, been to one of the club nights, this really is going to be a sentimental piece that you would want on your kitchen table or on your bookshelf. The Kickstarter project is live now. We're $4,000 away from hitting our target to make this book a reality. And just remember, if you do pledge on the Kickstarter, no money gets taken from your account now. It's done speculatively. So if you don't hit the target, no money gets taken. And then if you do hit the target, the money gets taken in 30 days' time. So it's literally, if you've got no money now, you don't have to worry about it. Just make your pledge. Let's get this project happening because it really will be something for everybody. And yeah, it's something that I personally would go out and get. And, you know, obviously working with the brand and I think I've been working with Tidy now 15 years. A lot of the stuff we do, self-admittedly, I'm like, oh yeah, that's cool, that's nice. But this is genuinely something that I would want. So I'm going to play this little video now. And when we come back, I'm going to be talking you through the tracks on my brand new artist album, Fuzzy Logic. As I say, I'm not going in the mix tonight. I'm going to play some tracks, talk about them, talk about the inspiration, talk about how I made them, get your feedback. It's going to be a bit more of an interactive show this week. We're going to have a lovely time. So yeah, this is going to be the book advert. Just bear with me. We've upgraded the studio here at Tidy HQ, and I've got buttons to press where I can press, and it will go to the book advert. Right, so that was a little promo video for the Tidy Book. It's a project on Kickstarter. It's a project of passion. It's something we've wanted to do for ages, but it's so time consuming to put together that we needed to kickstart it because just basically the resource time it would eat up would just be unfathomable. You know, we wouldn't be able to support it to be able to make it happen without the Kickstarter pledge, without you guys making us know that you want it, basically. So if you've ever been into the label, you've ever been a fan of the music for a harder generation, or indeed the hard house scene, then get yourself over to Kickstarter and make that pledge. Right, onwards with the show. So as I say, I'm not going to go in the mix tonight. I'm going to play you all the tracks in sequential order from my new artist album, Fuzzy Logic. Now, this artist album is the follow-up to Fractal. Fractal was released back in January 2021, I think. Yeah, it was 2021. Wow, over a year old now. And it basically kick-started the new revolution of untidy music, all the new artists and everybody making this sort of like chunky, funky hard house sound again, which I was very, very proud of. Now, this is the follow-up to Fractal. It's called Fuzzy Logic, keeping down that Fractal, Fuzzy Logic kind of artwork inspired by science, basically inspired by my dad theme. And yeah, it's 14 brand new tracks, all produced by myself. There's a collaboration with Ellie Mariachi, who's done the vocals on one, and the rest of it is just solo music by me. So I'm going to kick things off. This is the first track taken from said album, and this is the intro to it, and this one's called Make It Better. You guys are literally the first people in the world to hear this other than the people in the office. So tonight is an Uber exclusive showcase of some new music for you. So as you can hear by this tune, this is the opener to the album. Very heavily inspired by the UK garage sounds. Some cheeky old school samples in there. But the CLS, can you feel it? Feel in places. With a big bouncing bass line, just the way we like it. Big evening to everybody if you just joined us. It's some tidy Thursdays, getting you warmed up for the weekend. This show is a little bit different tonight. Instead of me going in the mix, you're getting an exclusive preview of a brand new forthcoming artist album, Fuzzy Logic. And in the background, you've just heard the first track from said album, which is called Make It Better. So I do hope you've enjoyed that one. As I said, that is the opener for the album. You guys are literally some of the first people in the world to hear this. That track was actually inspired by the old school kind of UK garagey feel, and I've got some old school hard house influence in there. It's a very old school sounding track. I even added a little bit of vinyl crackle in the background as a sample that runs all the way through it, just to give it that authentic kind of vintage feel. Big old school vocal in there, got looping round. It's just a no-nonsense party track, good opener for the album. So I do hope you like that one. That one is called Make It Better. Right, it's time for track number 2. Now this one is called After Hours. Now this is an instrumental version because I did originally have an a cappella over the breakdown, but I've been struggling and not with sample clearance, but thinking I should do something original to it. So I'm going to play it to you now. This one's called After Hours, but there is going to probably be a new vocal in it. But again, this is all like work in progress. I want to get your guys' feedback on it, see if you're liking the tracks. You know, there's no right or wrong way of doing this. This is basically creative output from myself. And you know, if I'm playing the tracks to you now and I don't think the vibing right, I'll do another track and I'll put it in its place. So it's a little bit of a testing ground for me, is this Twitch show, and I do appreciate you guys listening to it. So you know, at the end of the day, this is all brand new music, and you know, it's a testing ground. This is what this kind of medium is for. I can connect directly with you guys to get your feedback, and you could tell me what you think. And then once it gets released to the bigger, wider world, you know, this is almost like a little A&R panel, so we can go through this process. So yeah, I'm quite excited about doing this. So this next track number 2, is going to be called After Hours. Add a vocal in this part, talking about an after hours club. Might even do the vocal myself. This track's very much inspired by the old 99 North, Dylan Dickens, Sharp Boys, kind of earlier trade, chunky funky kind of speed garage bassline warm up tackle. Absolutely love that style. This is my ode to that. Yeah, it is old school. That's kind of my style though. It's taking that old school sound and ramping it up with modern production values. You know, that was the stuff that inspired me was from that era. But I still think it sounds timeless today. And a lot of the music that's come back into fashion these days is that 90s sound, the early 2000s sound. The best era of music in my opinion. Speed garage influence this one as well. Obviously I'm a northern lad, so speed garage has been part of my life growing up. Love a wobbler. Let me be your that one's called After Hours, my ode to the old school 99 North, kind of early trade, chunky funky bassline warm-up stuff. Yeah, I hope you like it. That was track number 2 off the album. Just a big hello to everybody who's just tuned in tonight. You might be thinking, what's going on here? Why is he talking so much? Why is he talking about the tracks? Well, I'll tell you. This is an exclusive preview of my brand new artist album. I'm changing things up on this week's show. I'm not going in the mix. I've literally just got the masters back for the album today. 14 brand new tracks, and I've been working on it for so long. I wanted to play it to you guys, get your feedback, see what you thought. So I give you a little bit of a upfront insight into what I've been thinking and where my head's at with the music, and just see what you think, really. You guys are my test lab. You're the only people in the world other than the lads in the office to have heard this, and it's not out for another month, to be honest with you, so you are really getting this up front. We'll probably delete this video after it's been up for a couple of days, so if you do like any of the tracks and you want to listen to it again, make the most of it whilst it's up there. So that was track number 2. That was called After Hours. Right, so moving on to track number 3. Now this one's called Madre. Now I've been a little bit obsessed with making a cool bounce track. I know you might laugh at that, but I really have. I do think there's a formula, and I've been trying to crack it. And there's a couple of tracks on this album that attempt to do so. Now, this track was made after I'd had a few pints of a lager called Madre, hence the title. It's got a nice... It's just a bit of a... It's definitely an album track, but it's definitely a bit of a bouncer, a bit of a party starter. Takes some inspiration from some early subliminal stuff with some of the synths that I've used. And yeah, I'll see what you think. So this one is called Madre, track number 3 from Fuzzy Logic. I was drunk on Marjorie when I made this, but I thought Marjorie fitted it with an almost kind of European Latino feel with the vocal chopped up, so yeah. Jamie Bottles is out tomorrow, mate. So as you can see, I've really got the donks out on the bass line with this one. Tried, I think, the weird lead synth is from an old Juno. I'd really liked it. Reminded me of the old Junior Jack kind of stuff, which I'm also really into, the old school funky house vibes. A lot of the time with tracks, I don't really set out with an intention. Throw a load of sound together and see what comes out. This is one of those tracks. Just kind of came together, man. Was Madre. That was track number 3 from Fuzzy Logic. If you just joined us tonight, I'm giving you guys an exclusive preview of my forthcoming artist album. I'm going to talk you through the tracks one by one in sequential order, and you'll be listening to me rabbit on a little bit about why I made them, what the inspiration was, and why I've called them what they have. So that one was called Madre, and it was one of the attempts on the album to make an incredible bounce track. Track number 4 on the album, I've been playing this in the streams, you have heard it before, and it's called Drain Pipe, and this is the second attempt on the album by me to make a credible bounce track. Now, this one is a personal favourite of mine. I do like this track, if I do say so myself. It's just a big daft bouncer. It reminds me a little bit, this was originally called a different track, and I can't remember which one, but I brought the project up, and I got the groove going, and it reminded me of an old school Marco V thing, kind of like a little bit techie, a little bit more European, and then I added the donk noise in, and it just went a bit silly. Now, I've always said, and there is I think I got this from the Blackout crew of all people. I remember watching this parody video of where they get the donk sound from, and I remember him saying they twatted a drain pipe with a ping pong racket, and he made that bonk 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 sound. So I thought, well, I'm putting a donk sound in there. Let's actually call the track Drain Pipe. And I could have just gone Drain Pipe, but I actually spent about 2 hours looking on YouTube for the vocal sample, which you'll hear in a second, which says Drain Pipe. I could have just said it, but I just wanted to do a sampling because I absolutely love sampling. I always sample where I can. And yeah, this is Drain Pipe, track number 4 from Fuzzy Logic. Yeah, the percussion loop on this reminds me of like an old Marco V thing. And then with that, makes it sound a little bit European. And then when the donk comes in, it just changes everything. Glad everybody's feeling it so far. I have put a lot of love into this album, a lot of time. and I'm really happy with the outcome, I must say, personally. So it's nice to be actually able to play it to you for the first time. That's track number 4, entitled Drainpipe. Bit of a Marmite track, I reckon, that one. I reckon some people love it, some people hate it. But yes, that was my second attempt on the album to make a cool bounce track. So yes, the way 1985, the album will be on iTunes. It gets a general release on the 21st of May. So you have got a bit of time yet to wait. And this is a really upfront exclusive preview of the stuff. Just to give you a bit of a taste, and for me personally to get some feedback. You know, I've spent so long making these tracks, and you can do your own editing a little bit when you're doing a project to this size. You know, you've 14 brand new tracks. Are they good? Are they bad? You know, you've played them to your mates, you've played them in the office, and luckily for me, the guys here at Tidy HQ are super critical of everything. Obviously, it's their job to be, but they give me some great feedback. But ultimately, this music is for you guys, so it's good for you to hear it in its it's in its entirety, the way it should be. Well, not the way it should be heard in a club, to be honest with you, but because it is very much club music. But I do appreciate the feedback that you're getting. So that's track number 4, and that is taken from Fuzzy Logic. And just a couple of questions. Vincenzo P, I've pronounced your name horribly wrong there, I do apologise. But yes, the full mixable versions on Beatport, there'll be the stream edits, which will be available on Spotify and Apple Music and all that shit, and then there'll be an exclusive DJ mix version, which will be available on CD and USB. So, right, onwards we go, and the last track that attempts to be a cool bounce track is this next one, track number 5. Now, this track's called Bouncer. Does what it says on the tin. It's very, very simple. Now, this track was originally aimed. I've just had an EP signed to Josh Butler's Origin Records, and I was trying to get the second track, the B-side, wrapped up for him. And I sent him this over, and it was a little bit understated, and he didn't really like it. And we've pumped it up. I sent it to. I work with Paul Maddox basically. I do all my own engineering, writing, everything, and he works on the mix downs. And it was actually Paul Maddox that suggested. He said, "Why don't you just put an offbeat on the drop?" And we tried it, and it absolutely flew. So this next track is called Bouncer, and there's a cheeky sample in there. I'll buy anybody a pint at Tidy Leeds if they spot the sample and can tell me where it's from. But yeah, this is track number 5 from Fuzzy Logic. This is called Bouncer. There's a lot of vinyl crackle samples on this album. Try to give it that authentic kind of vintage feel, because obviously a lot of the sounds I've used are from that era. probably one of the more intricate productions I've done. There's a lot of channels, a lot of stuff going on with this. Loads of little call and answer effects, a lot of production, a lot of drums and percussion elements in here, a lot of layers to it. Sounds simple, it's probably one of the most simple tracks I've done. It's not got a big hook, but intricate little noises and sounds and little layers. There's a lot of it going on. Subtle, I think you'd call it. That is track number 5 called Bouncer. As I say, it sounds quite simple, that track, like it just drops back into an offbeat bass line, but there is a lot of stuff going on, and that's what kind of adds to the listenability of it. Because there's a lot of little subtle layers, it doesn't get boring. The simplicity of it doesn't get boring, and that's something for you producers to take note of. Sometimes you can have a really simple idea, but little intricacies keep it interesting, and a lot of the minimal and tech house producers use that trick, like little FX licks and little call and answer stuff with the percussion, so it doesn't get one dimensional, because you could quite easily just have a track that had a build up and an offbeat bass and it'd be boring as fuck, but because of all the little stuff going on, it keeps you engaged. So yeah, that is track number 5, number 5 from the album. That one's called Bouncer, and yeah, I do hope you like it. So onwards we go. The next track, it's been one that's been quite popular on this. It was originally I can't even remember what it was. A lot of the tracks that I make are old tracks that I've just kind of recycled, and I've used the same template to save time and kind of pumped up. Now, I've always been a big fan of the quote, "Love is the answer." I believe that love is the answer to a lot of things in life, and I've always wanted to do a track that was that kind of said that, basically. Now, I found a vocal sample that spelt out love, L-O-V-E, and it was a little bit cheesy. I was trying to get it to fit in a track for quite a while, and it never did it. And then this next track, I wrote the instrumental part of it, and there was it's almost like a big trance breakdown almost. It's got this like big, really in your face hook and lead that. It really it was really aimed at the big room, but I wanted a big room track that had a bit of bang to it. And I think a lot of the big room tracks that are around today with a lot of nice synth work, they lack a little bit of balls to them. They're just kind of a bit wafty. And I'm sorry to all the producers who are making it, but it is true. They're just a little bit you stood in front of a castle just fucking waving your arms around in the air. So I wanted to make a track that was like that had a little bit of balls to it. And luckily, the track that I made fitted the vocal sample that I wanted to use for quite a while. Sometimes when you're producing a track, you'll find a vocal sample, or you'll find a sample you want to use, and it won't fit instantly with something, but you've got it in the back of your mind. And then when you're writing something, you think, I know what will fit with this, and bang, two came together, and it created track number 6 on the album, which is called "Love Is the Answer." appreciate the subscriptions that are coming in tonight. Cheers, guys. Muff 2K, great name. Charles36, thank you. I appreciate all the love for this track. Love is the answer, trust me. Track number 6, Love is the Answer. Do hope you love it. As I say, that track was inspired by that kind of proggy, big room sound that's around at the moment. I wanted to make something that was quite hooky, big kind of hands in the air, feel good, but had a little bit of balls to it. Because I do think a lot of the stuff that falls into that genre is a bit wafty nonsense, lacks any kind of thump. So yeah, that is my ode to that kind of genre of music. And yeah, I do hope you like it. Right, so onwards we go. That was track number 6. And track number 7 is just a track that does exactly what it says on the tin. It's called Beat Banger. Now, this one's quite heavily inspired by the kind of like 80s new NRG. I actually think, here's a story for you. I spent a full day in here sampling all these records that you can see behind me. All this is Amadeus Mozart's record collection. I actually spent a day in this studio sampling all the stuff, all the drum loops, all the little hits. And this track is heavily inspired by that day of sampling. I do believe that the drum loop, the bass line, and a few other bits are all directly influenced from that day sampling in here. The vocal sample is an obvious one that you'll have heard before. It's been resung, but I've tried to arrange it in a different way. And I've tried to almost fuse an 80s track with modern day hard house. And this is the result. This is called Beat Banger. Bang. I'm just listening back to this, and a lot of the samples in this record are taken from the records behind me. I cannot stress the importance of sampling when you're producing. Alison Leggett, a lot of bouncy stuff tonight. These are all tracks taken from a forthcoming album. Yes, definitely, it's from that era, mate. The Donna Summer kind of I Feel Love era. Probably a little bit later than that. That was probably the record that spawned all this sort of stuff. Very new NRG. High NRG, should I say, not new NRG. You would be wrong, Jamie Old. Similar concept. Different sample. No, it's different, mate. It's a different sample. track number 7, Beat Banger, does exactly what it says on the tin. Bangs to the beat. Cheers for the beer, Anonymous, £3.33, thank you so much. Jamie Old, those drumstick taps are called cowbell. So yeah, that was track number 7, as you can tell, my ode to the 80s high energy sound, fused with modern day hard house, and yeah, that is the result. So I do hope you're enjoying these tracks tonight. These will all be available to you on the 21st of May, I believe, is the release date for the album. The first single from the album is out tomorrow, called Bottles, which we'll play later on, and this is just basically a run through of Fuzzy Logic, which is the follow-up to Fractal, which is available now from the Tidy store. I don't know if any of you have not got this album yet, but basically this album, which I'm going to hold up now, this album here was the fruits of my labour during lockdown, and basically restarted the old Untidy label on the direction that it's going today, down the path that we venture on. So yeah, if you haven't got this one yet, this is the first album, and what we're playing tonight is the follow-up to it. As you can see on there, that's my dad's artwork. I'm very proud of the art that my dad does. Very much inspired by science, computing, physics, and the Fractal title comes direct inspiration from the artwork that my dad does. Fuzzy Logic is very much the same. Fuzzy Logic is a term used for computing to describe a certain way of programming that my dad's, again, artwork is inspired by, and again, Fuzzy Logic will include some of my dad's artwork on the front cover. So that is available in the Tidy Tracks store now if you want to go get yourself a copy. And onwards we go with the album. This next one is called Unrecognisable. Now, little story for you. This one actually started off as a new track for an intended Colours EP. We were going to release a brand new Colours EP on Untidy, and I went into the studio and made this one. It's originally called Brown, and it was my ode to the old Untidy Colours, where you've got cheeky little samples of old Tidy tracks. You've been a little bit naughty with some of the little stabs and little cuts in there. You're very much inspired by Amo's and Paul Jane's early exploits on Untidy, as I'm sure you'll be able to hear in the track. And yeah, 10 points for anybody who guesses where the main sample is from. I have sampled quite a bit of Tidy stuff in here. It's not a mashup, but if you remember back to Amadeus's track Blue on the first Colours EP, this is where my inspiration for is on this track. So yeah, I'll play this. This is track number 8, and it's called Unrecognisable.
Because I thought the music, the rhythm had been stretched so far it would never snap back to anything I recognized.
I forgot how much that slaps. Jamie, you are correct. I have sampled Mastermind in this record. And also Adele, you are correct. I have sampled Orange in this record. There is nothing wrong with sampling as long as you're using it in a creative way. And obviously if you get clearance from the copyright holder. Obviously quite a few cheeky samples in there, but I do love sampling. Sampling is an art in itself, very much a part of modern day dance music, and it's well, even just dance music in general. As I say, inspired by the early Untidy Colours releases when Amo sampled the Signum riff for Blue. So that is track number 8 from Fuzzy Logic, Unrecognisable. And that is the end of that one. Ends a bit abruptly, that one. I think I might have to just amend that for the full release. But yeah, if you're just joining us, sorry to those who've been listening all night, and sorry for repeating myself, but I am giving you an exclusive preview of Fuzzy Logic, which is the forthcoming artist album on Untidy by myself on the 21st of May. I've just had the masters back today, so I thought I'd play it for you lot as a world exclusive premiere. So that was track number 8. So moving on, surprisingly, to track number 9. Now this next track, I was fucking about with some drums, and I came across a French disco house sample pack. Now I started whacking all these different samples in, and it reminded me of an old Dom Sweeten project that he used to do called Filterworks, where it was basically old disco, old French filtered funk, but pumped up for hard house speeds, and I absolutely used to love those releases, and I just basically went down that line with it. Now, nothing pleases me more than hearing sped up rap samples over stuff where it shouldn't be. So either that's be over a trance track, a disco track, or indeed a French filtered house track. There's just something about the contrast of a rap sample, which can sound quite cheesy, over something which could be quite cool. And this is one of those tracks. This is my ode to those tracks. This one's called Full Contact. It's one of my personal favourites on the album, and it's track number 9 from Fuzzy Logic.
Boy, one flat like a full contact.
Those lush, nice synths with a big fucking rap sample. I love it. Thank you, Jamie, for the tip, mate. I shall be getting a beer shortly. That is track number 9 from Fuzzy Logic, Full Contact. That is one of my personal favourites on the album. There's just something about it I love. I think a lot of times with hard house these days, it always goes for the jugular. It goes straight for that, whoa, hands in the air, let's fucking have it, whoa. And we've lost that subtlety. We've lost those tracks that you can just put on and you can just close your eyes and groove. And for me, that track epitomises that feeling where it's got no big build-up, it's got no big breakdown, it's got no big hook as such, but it just gets you in a nice mood and enables you to dance at a certain pace. And for me, that's missing a lot with hard house these days. And that's a lot what I try to get across in my music, and especially with Fuzzy Logic, I think you'll find that there's a lot of tracks on here that they might not be big anthems, but they've each got their own unique little space, and I hope that when you play them or hear them in a club environment, it'll just lock you into that groove and get you dancing. And I pretty much kept all the tracks across this album at 130 BPM, because for me, that's my optimal BPM, that just, it's fast enough for me to actually give it some, but it's not too fast, so I'm not like running on the spot. You know, it's a good pace, I find. It's almost like I think that is my natural BPM rhythm, 130 BPM. So yeah, I do hope you like it so far. Moving on, track number 10, Freedom. Now, this track is a collaboration with the uber talented vocalist Ellie Mariachi. She's done a lot of stuff with our Tidy 2 artists. She's done stuff with Brain, with Nicholson and a few other guys. And I thought, right, it'd be quite fun to get her on an Untidy-esque record. Now, the record that she did the vocals for started off as a bootleg. I actually did this as a bootleg of a remix of the Out Here Brothers. I Want to See You Wiggle It just a little bit. Didn't use the Wiggle It bit vocal, but it had all the rest of the vocal in there. And I had this mad trancy riff. I actually wrote this probably 2 years ago, and again, the first lockdown, and it never got to fruition. I rejigged it, redid some of the parts, got Ellie to do the vocal, and this is the result. This one is called Freedom. Cool donk, or trying to be. Track number 10 from Fuzzy Logic. That one is called Freedom. Jamie, you would be mistaken. It's probably sounds a little bit like The Power because that is a track I was involved with writing with Technical, but that is a completely original composition that myself and Ellie Mariachi have created. She's done the vocals on that one. So big up to Ellie for creating such a good hook, actually. That one will stick in your head for days, and I cannot wait to play it out. So if you just joined us, this is an exclusive preview of Fuzzy Logic. We're more than 3/4 of the way through now. It's a 14-track album. You've just heard track number 10, which leads us, surprisingly, on to track number 11. Now, this one is probably the biggest curveball on the album. It's actually called Fuzzy Logic. It's the self-titled track from the album, and it's just a bit of a mad track, basically. I wanted to do a track that was just a little bit out there, had a load of stuff going on and off through it, a lot of inspiration from different styles, and just something to turn heads, basically. It's very much inspired by the track Fractal I did for the album Fractal, in a sense of I've taken a sample of someone describing what Fuzzy Logic is, as I did with Fractal. I just took a sample of what someone describing what a fractal was. So I've used that same idea for the basis of the track, but it's just come out and it's just a bit of a mad track, so I'm just going to play it and you can make your own mind up on it. So this one is track number 11, and it's called Fuzzy Logic.
Fuzzy logic is a way to model logical reasoning where the truth of a statement is not a binary true or false, like it is with classical logic, but rather it's a degree of truth that ranges from 0, which is absolutely false, to 1, which is absolutely true. Fuzzy logic allows us to design a fuzzy inference system, which is a function that maps a set of inputs to outputs using human interpretable rules rather than more abstract mathematics. Fuzzy logic, and ultimately a fuzzy inference system, gives us a way to encode experience-based knowledge in a way that computers can understand in the form of logical rules.
Ready for the filth?
and then we can use data to systematically learn the parameters of that inference system.
And that was Fuzzy Logic, bit of a mad one that. Yeah, it just kind of a load of different ideas and sounds. I really wanted to make a track that was unidentifiable, really. You can't really put it in a genre, you can't really, label it as such. It's just a banging dance music track with a bit of a weird vocal. So yeah, that was track number 11 from Fuzzy Logic, called Fuzzy Logic. Right, another bit of a left field track. Now this one is called Fatty Dropper. Now this started off as a bit of a mad one, really. I started just writing, trying to make some eclectic style dance music that wasn't really aimed at any label. I wasn't sure if this was going to be on the album, if it was going to be an untidy track, or what it was going to be, but I wanted to make something that had a little bit of old school breakbeat in there, a little bit of ambient kind of feel good hams in the air, kind of lose yourself in the moment, but then just slam in with an absolute fucking dirty, break your face off, kick back and drop. So this is the result of that. It's very much like inspired by maybe like, I think like Bicep and people like that, really. Just try to do something a little bit different. Some traditional hard house sounds mixed with a contemporary way of doing things. Again, I've really tried to break the mold with this album. And yeah, some of these tracks, like the one you've just heard and this next one, are my left field offerings to you to try and do something a little bit different. So this one is track number 12 and it's called Fatty Dropper. Playing some of these at Mint, Jamie, do you not worry. If you want to hear these played out in a club for the first time ever, do join us at Mint Warehouse in Leeds this Saturday. Still available from tidytracks.co.uk. I'll be on the decks at 1 a.m. playing a load of this music. That was Fatty Dropper. I do like that. That's one of my another personal favourite from the album. It's just a bit random, isn't it? It's like I've never really heard anything like that before. It's which is a good thing, I think. I think it's good to push the envelope sometimes and not just deliver stuff that people are expecting. There's obviously some tracks on here that you might expect, and then some that you don't, which is the point of an artist album. Explore, experiment, and push the boundary a little bit. So that's track number 13. We've only got 2 more tracks left, and that's the end of this exclusive preview of Fuzzy Logic. And is everybody feeling it so far? Let's have a look on the chat, man. What's your guys' thoughts? Any standout tracks? I mean, I've been watching it and I've been seeing your feedback, and thank you so much for the love. I really do appreciate it. This is, it's a labour of love in a lot of ways doing these albums. Financially, you know what the music industry is like these days. Unless you're on the big playlists and everything, you don't really get the financial return. So for people who are into a niche music, it's it really is just a matter of us expressing our art, and this is really art. It is. It's creative. So I'm glad that you guys are feeling it. It means a lot. This is the reason that we do release stuff like this. It's to please you guys, and there's nothing better from a creative point of view than getting adulation and people enjoying what you're trying to get across. So thank you for listening. Last track is a legend. Thank you. I like 13. Love is Drain Pipe. Yeah, Adele. Thank you very, very much. And buying this album. Thank you, Jamie. Liptop 420. Welcome, mate. Thank you. Tidy Trout. Buzzing. Glad you're liking it. So yeah, I mean, look, I'm open to constructive criticism. If some of people aren't liking stuff, then let me know. This is a testing ground for you guys to see if you'll like it. You're the biggest dickhead I've ever seen. Thanks, mate. You're the biggest dickhead I've ever seen. My dad's harder than your dad, you dickhead. So yeah, this is the leave it up there. Fuck 'em. This is the testing ground for said music. Right then, last 2 tracks on the album. This next track, my ode to 90s rave music. Now, it's not a mad let's go. It's not that kind of thing. I've tried to keep it a little bit cooler. Still banging. I've sampled an old Dreamscape tape that was one of my favourites. I think it's from LTG Bookham on New Year's Eve of 1993, and it's got it's just got some big banging old school drums, a big fuck off Dominator Hoover in there, and this one is called 94. You know the score. No, it's not. That one's called Fatty Dropper. Hey, this one's called 94. You know the score. Ollie, the Love You More track was done quite a few years ago, so unfortunately it doesn't appear on this new album. This is all brand new stuff, but I'm glad you like that track, thank you. Listening in the background, I've actually sampled the Whistle Posse, like some ambience from a rave, and just put it on a loop. Very simple track, that one, not much going on, but all the elements are really in your face and big. Very much inspired. My ode to Dreamscape, my ode to the tape packs that I grew up on. With a very, very cool vocal sample in there.
Make some noise if you're off your fucking face!
You heard the man. So that one was the penultimate track on the album. 94, You Know the Score. As you can tell, the album's got progressively harder. I tried to program it a little bit like I would a DJ set, starting off quite nice, chunky, funky, and leading into the more banging stuff at the end. Again, you don't need to be fast to be banging. I mean, that track was 132 BPM, so you know we've gone up an incredible 2 BPM in pace, but it feels a lot harder. I've used a lot more abrasive sounds and tried to give it a little bit of welly towards the end of the album. So yeah, that one was track number 13, which was called 94, You Know the Score, which leads us on to the last track of the album, and this one is called Bottles. Now, I have been playing this on the show for the last few weeks, and I've had some great feedback on it. It's out tomorrow on general release. It's available everywhere to download, stream, and that's about it, really. It's available to download and stream tomorrow, and you can grab it from wherever your preferred DSP may be. So this is the final track on the album. Again, a little bit of a curveball one, but I mean, this track, I think this is probably version 16 of Bottles. I've been going round and round. I originally wrote the riff or the melody in it, and I thought, oh, there's something in that. Found some weird sound. I was just fucking about, flicking through sound libraries, and I found this percussion sound, pitched it right up to make the riff, and I thought personally it was really, really catchy. Tried loads of different iterations of it. Originally it was like this bouncy, untidy thing, didn't really work, didn't really fit with the riff. Then it changed to a banging techno track. Again, wasn't really feeling it. So I stripped it right back. I'm very much inspired by the early 90s stuff and the early 2000s stuff, as you can tell by all the tracks and the sounds that I produce. And I thought, fuck it, I'm going to go full-on Zombie Nation-esque and try and make a big, dirty electro banger. Something a little bit weird. It's a bit of a genre crossing straddler, this, really. We've had support from people as wide as Calvin Harris to, Giuseppe Ottaviani. So it really is straddling between like trance, dance, hard dance, house, fuck knows. It's just a dance track that's a little bit tougher. So this is the final track on the album. It's out tomorrow, and this one is called Bottles. Pluto M73, it's called Bottles because the main lead sound reminded me of bottles being plinked, basically, and that's the reason it's called it. Nothing elaborate. definitely be playing this on Saturday at Mint Leeds. Probably twice, 3 times. Joking, but I will play it. Really wanted to make a track that just kicks back in and slaps you in the face, man. Very much made with the club in mind. Thank you, Pluto M. That was Bottles. Out tomorrow. Please, if you like it, that is, go and buy it. I'm not even going to plead with you. If you like it, go buy it. If you don't. But I appreciate the support. And that brings us to the end of this exclusive Fuzzy Logic album showcase. Feels really good to actually play these and get some feedback. You are literally the first people in the world to hear this, other than myself, my girlfriend, and the guys in the office. So thank you very much for listening. I hope you've enjoyed the format of the show. I thought it'd be a little bit different than breaking it up. You know, obviously you listen to me DJ week in and week out, and I really appreciate you tuning in every week to listen to me do that. But I thought it might be nice for you guys to check this out and see what I've been working on, what I've been beavering away in the studio. So that is the end of the show. Thank you again for listening. Don't forget to join us in Leeds if you're about on Saturday night at the Mint Warehouse, one of the best venues in the UK. We've got a full-on Untidy room all night long. If you go onto the Tidy Tracks stories on Instagram or go onto my stories or even indeed the Facebook page of Tidy Tracks, you can see a live broadcast we did from the venue and you can check it out. It is really one of the best venues in the UK. That is no joke. We'll be there on Saturday. I do hope you can join us. Do not forget to go over to Kickstarter and pledge to support the Tidy book that we want to do with you guys. And yeah, if you aren't aware, the first album that I did, Fractal, and the music you've been hearing tonight is the follow-up to this album. This is available from the Tidy store right now. Just go to tidytracks.co.uk and get yourself a copy. And that is all I've got time for. I'm going to leave you with the book for the Kickstarter, in case you weren't aware of what that was, because I know a few people joined us towards the end of the show. And I will speak to you all later on. This video will only be up for another couple of days, and I'm probably going to be taking it down because I don't want to spoil the surprise for everybody else. We're launching Fuzzy Logic, so it's not going to be widely available. So yeah, thank you again for listening, and I'll see you later on. Big love. Mwah.